A very warm welcome. You're watching RT International, broadcasting to you live from the Russian capital. I'm Nikki. Good to have you with us. Tends to focus on one man. What he does, what he says, what he looks like. Indeed, but that's tomorrow, though. Today, it's Belgium competing with England in St. Petersburg for third place. Now, that game has just kicked off. To get more in-depth analysis, we can head over to Manchester to someone who has won his fair share of finals, Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho. Still, punishment remains common for certain types of crime there. People can be sentenced to death for offences relating to sorcery and blasphemy. Please. Protesters have marched from the centre of Kos to here, which is where the refugee hotspot centre is due to be opened. Now, the crowds of protesters have dispersed slightly after riot police fired around 6 or 7 rounds of tear gas into the crowds. The crowds, which include women, children, elderly people, and including journalists. Now, riot police, they're not holding back. As soon as any protesters start to push forward, they are retaliating even more so. Let's go live now to Angela Harrelson, who is George Floyd's aunt. Miss Harrelson, first of all, I'd like to say how sorry I am for your loss. How have you and the family been coping?
It's been
the Baikonur Cosmodrome, we are just seconds away from seeing this rocket soar into outer space. It will fly over the western coast of Peru as it makes that 4,000-kilometre journey to the International Space Station, which should take around 6 hours. Now, we can only imagine what's going through the minds of those 3 crew members inside the Soyuz capsule right now. Let's take a look. This is NASA's Randy Bresnik. This is European Space Agency's Paolo Spoli, and the commander of the crew, Russian cosmonaut Sergei Ryanzatsky. Wow! The ground is shaking beneath my feet right now. Wow, just to give you an idea of the incredible force right here, this is more than 300 tons being thrust out of the Earth's atmosphere and into outer space. The ground is literally shaking beneath my feet right now. And there they go, following in the trails of so many incredible human accomplishments that started out right here at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, from the first man in space, Yuri Gagarin, in 1961, to the first woman in space, and of course the first spacewalk, all starting here at the very same spot. Are the basis of a new report aired at the UN Human Rights Council, with 24 countries voicing their condemnation of the large number of executions in the Gulf monarchy programme. So the report says there was no collusion, but leading Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, namely, have released a joint statement saying the report summary raises as many questions as it answers. What do you think they mean by that? Clearer picture as to the motives of the man behind this attack. I'm here outside the Olympia Mall now, where the horrific attack took place. It's usually a busy with shoppers on a Saturday afternoon, but today, as you can see, it's a completely different picture. People are continuing to arrive here to lay flowers and light candles. A lot of people are in tears, and behind me, a single sign reading "Why?" And that's the big question at this point. Why did this happen? Let's cross live to our guest, Naomi Bennett, who's an NHS nurse who's been working on the front lines of the pandemic. Welcome to the programme. It's good to see you. Naomi, give us a better idea of what the situation is on the ground. How severe is the lack of PPE, and how is that affecting your work, as well as the morale of you and your colleagues? Start with this hour with breaking news. Central London has been shaken by a terror attack, with 7 people confirmed dead. Well, however confident the Chancellor and her CDU party may be, Merkel's main rival, the Social Democrats leader Martin Schulz, says he refuses to believe she's already won. Schulz says he hopes a last-minute swing could still happen. While seeking to win over undecided voters, the former European Parliament president is positioning himself as a man of the people. Well, thank you both for joining us on RT International. If I could start with you, Ruchi Kumar, can you describe for our viewers what you saw unfold today? Thank you for choosing RT International this Tuesday. We start with breaking news. At least 22 people have been killed and almost 60 injured in what's believed to be a terror attack. It happened at a concert on Monday night in the Manchester Arena in the UK. OK, we can now take you live to London, Downing Street, as the British Prime Minister Theresa May is now giving her reaction. In the grip of a pandemic right now, how well prepared is it to combat a food emergency?
Well, the world was not prepared, first of all, such a global pandemic.
Hello, welcome back. Back to our breaking news this hour. Spanish police say a man wearing what appears to be an explosives belt has been shot dead in one of the suburbs of Barcelona. It's not yet clear whether the incident is connected to last week's terror attack in the Spanish city, but some reports are suggesting that it is. A great sign. It shows that the US and Russia can work together in agreement in Syria. Also positive comments from the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Let's take a listen. One of the biggest challenges the next president of France is going to face is, of course, tackling terrorism. Under the last administration, we saw a number of high-profile terror attacks on French soil. Do you think the new president, he or she, is going to be more successful in countering this issue?
No, I don't think so.
Really bring people onto the streets in mass riots and protests, aren't there? Including that press conference yesterday where we heard from the WikiLeaks editor-in-chief that there was evidence the US had been spying on Julian Assange inside of the embassy. So what do you think the public will do? Will there be a huge outcry to this? Will there be mass protests? Scotland Yard has said Assange has been arrested on a warrant issued by a Westminster Magistrates Court in June 2012 and following a US extradition request. He spent over 6 years holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy. Well, for more on this story, we can cross live to our correspondent who's outside the court where Julian Assange has just been heard, Polly Boyko. Polly, can you bring us the latest on what you're hearing from outside the court, please? A hijacker who forced an Egypt Air passenger plane to divert and land in Cyprus this morning is now reportedly demanding the release of women prisoners in Egypt. The passenger had earlier threatened the pilot, claiming to have a suicide belt, although it later emerged there were no explosives on board. These are live pictures from the airport showing the Egypt airplane. There are reports that special forces units are now preparing to storm the Airbus to release those still being held. Hello and welcome back. You're watching RT International with me, Nikki, Aaron and Jacqueline Vuga. Welcome to the programme. We're bringing you breaking news, full hours for the past few hours since President Trump announced that the US, France and the UK have launched military strikes against Syria, threatening to reveal his identity if he makes another video like that Trump one. Now here's the clip at the centre of the controversy. It's an edited video of Trump's scripted appearance at a wrestling match, which was way back in 2007. The person who is attacked has a CNN logo for a head. The channel has since accused the president of encouraging violence against reporters. Well, here at RT, we love to hear your thoughts on the day's story, so do get in touch by following us on Facebook and Twitter. And join me again at the top of the hour for all the latest headlines.